Good morning again, every class. Let's take a look at this little video here. Right. Talking about Mozart psychology. And we can see that at times we may not have learned the basic principles. So, we had asked you to do a pre-test. If you're not sure if everybody was able to do it, if you weren't, you can always go back, take a look, and do this test. It's still open. But for those that were able to complete it, this was the results of our test poll looking at the Mozart of psychology. And we can see that we had some questions that asked about a quote by Lev Vygoksi, a picture of Lev Vygoksi to describe his educational learning theory and his true or false if learning is independent of social interaction. And we had that the majority of the class got over 50%, but we had some that missed the mark slightly. So let's see if we can improve on that. So we're going to be speaking about Vygotsky. He's the Mozart of psychology, and this is the story of the incomplete theorist. Our group, the E-Bloomers, because we were the last group to come in, so we're blooming now. The E-Bloomers, we have Brian, we have Robert, we have Sherry, and I'm Marsha. Okay, at the end of the session, we expect that you should be able to identify the key components of Vygotsky's learning theory. Now, in the early years, Vygotsky was born in Russia, same as Paget that you just heard about. And his real name was Lev Vygotsky because he came from a middle-class Jewish family. And then he changed his name later on to Vygotsky. He earned a law degree in 1917 from the University of Moscow. He was a secondary school teacher, and he started to study psychology at the age of 21 and completed it at the Institute of Psychology. He's a contemporary of Pavlov, so you would remember the stimulus theory. But unfortunately, he passed away from TB very early at the age of 37. However, he was a prolific writer, having put out 270 scientific papers. We have a lot of catching up to do. And over 10 psychology books, right? He is known as the Mozart of psychology because his professional interest was in teaching and understanding how people learn. His theories, however, were repudiated by Stalin, and of course, when Stalin died, his theories became more prominent, but it only became known to us in the West in the early 1960s, around 1962. But his theories were incomplete. Vygotsky's big quandary was, how do cognitive and language development relate to learning? And how do children perform tasks beyond their developmental years? And essentially, he came to the idea that cognitive development occurred due to social interaction and the use of tools for intellectual adaptation. His theory was on social constructivism, and we've been speaking about that today, and social cultural development, wherein human development results from interactions between individuals and the society at large. Children learn gradually from parents, from their peers, and that is called the more knowledgeable other, the MKO. The teacher is really there to promote learning, where the student plays an active role. And we know Margot has been saying that to us. We have to make our students be active in what we do, rather than we just being didactic in how we transmit instructions. So fundamentally, learning comes from external factors, and culture has a significant role to play. Now, he had two important concepts: the zone of proximal development, ZPD, and social interaction, where the ZPD really spoke about where you are now in your learning and where you are going to get to, right? So distance between one's actual and your potential based on the help that others give. And that help that is given is rendered through what they call scaffolding. So you have a method by which someone else, a more knowledgeable other, assists you in getting the new information. For social interaction, every function in a child's cultural development appears twice. So from the initial between people, which is the intrapsychological, to within person, the intrapsychological. And then you have the connection between the oral language and the silent inner speech. So this fosters development of mental concepts and cognitive awareness. So what we're going to do now is a quick 2-minute activity where we're going to do some, tying up some knots, right? And on your tables, we have some little boards there and a string. And we have some MKOs that are going to assist you. And we have also a video that you can look at. So you're going to take 2 minutes to try and see if you can tie a surgical knot.
You putting us to shame while you're all done. You done it? I know. So you're facilitating.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Probably just checked it out.
No. Yeah, so you went through thumb and forefinger, and you come over between the third and fourth. You're then laying it.
All right. So were some of you able to get some tying done? Yes. Anybody on this table was able to get some tying done?
How are you doing? You've got an expert next to you. So you did the first one, and then the next one you're going
Okay, I see.
using the forefinger under and over.
All right, so we're going to move on. We're going to move on because this now becomes interesting. Some may have got it, some may not. But essentially, that was ZPD in action. ZPD and scaffolding. And what really happened is that we tried to move you from what you actually knew about tying a knot surgically to a higher potential. And of course, everybody will be at a different level. And everybody will reach to a different level, right? So that brings into play the distance between the actual and the potential through the assistance of a facilitator, which we had in the physical and we had in the video, right? So, in terms of thinking and speech, which is another aspect, language is the most important cultural tool. By giving students the opportunity to talk with others, we give them an essential framework that they can think for themselves and develop critical thinking. Vygoksi thought that through social interaction, peers and those more knowledgeable others help a child to learn and to connect thought and language. And external language expressions are allowed for internalization, which essentially brings into play reflection, which we have been speaking about in our sessions. So, a quick post test. We're going to do hands up now, real old school. Which one of the following best describes the zone of proximal development? A, the rate of teaching, learning, reaching learning targets, or the distance between actual and potential knowledge. Who says A? Hands up. Oh. B? Right, great. All right, and which of the following quotes can be attributed to Vygoksi? What a child does today with assistance, she will be able to do by herself tomorrow, or through others we become a mirror of them. A? Brilliant. All right, great. Got something there. So in summarizing, we have that you should think that the development is cultural. You learn through interaction with the physical and social environment. Language is our most important cultural tool. Learning occurs within a social context where we have a more knowledgeable other. And learning precedes development, the ZPD. So visually, let's just take this idea which kind of change the music up and put the soap into it. Here you are on this side of the road and you want to get to the other side because you have your friends, right? But you're not quite sure how to get across this vast water and you have a more knowledgeable other. And that knowledgeable other indicates that others have done it and you can do it too. Using the bridge as your zone of proximal development, and you would use the road as your scaffolding. And so you try it, and eventually you reach on the other side, and you're happy that you have understood. And now I hand that over to the moderator, and we give our acknowledgements to Dr. Burns and you, our colleagues.